Welcome! This is what has been happening on the Sun today, Sunday the 10th of April 2011. Well, minutes after I posted yesterday's report saying there were no C flares on the Sun, of course the Sun produced a C flare. Just because you're paranoid it doesn't mean that they aren't out to get you. Oh well. Since then the Sun has quieted down a bit more. However, as I put this video together, we're in the middle of a major coronal mass ejection from the Sun, as you will see later in the Soho movies. So let's take a look at the active regions and see why. 1184 has disappeared over the west limb, and 1185 completely disintegrated overnight and is all but gone. 1189 and 1186 are showing some signs of growth, but they're still relatively small, weak regions. 1187 is but a single spot, so effectively you only have 3 spotted regions on the disk at the moment. There's nothing seemingly coming over the east limb. I managed in a fit of sheer stupidity to overwrite all the stereo data. However, there wasn't a great deal there to get excited about, so it's no great loss, at least today. So let's turn to the data from the Solar Dynamics Observatory to see what's been happening on the side of the Sun that's facing the Earth. In the sunspot and magnetic movies, I'd like you to concentrate on the decay of 3 regions. 1185 starts at Sun center in the north, and by the end of the movie has completely disappeared. 1188 starts near Sun center in the south and was already disappearing yesterday, but you can see that it's completely gone by the end of the movie today. 1187 starts off in the southeast with 2 fairly strong spots, but by the end of the movie is just a single small spot, and I suspect it will be gone by tomorrow. In the helium 304 images, the large filament in the south is still stubbornly refusing to lift off, but I still have high hopes for that. In the meantime, a rather impressive V-shaped filament is formed in the northwest. It's probably worth keeping an eye on that one too. In both the northeast and the southwest there seems to be eruptive prominence activity, and one in the northeast seems to be associated with the coronal mass ejection that I mentioned earlier. In the coronal movie, we can see that even though the sunspots have disappeared from these regions, there's still quite a bit of activity going on there. Another reason why I believe that sunspot number is not a very good indicator of solar activity levels. Now let's take a look at that coronal mass ejection. For that, we go to the LASCO instrument on the Soho spacecraft. First in red is the C2 instrument, showing the inner corona, and then secondly the C3 instrument, which shows the outer corona. The CME occurs towards the end of the movie sequence. From the whole Sun coronal image, we can see that most of our major regions have now rotated over the west limb of the Sun. There are no major regions due back in the next week. In fact, our brightest region is exactly on the far side of the Sun at the moment. The auroral arc looks fairly quiet at the moment, and the KP index has been varying between 1 and 3, which is also classified as quiet. So in summary then, the sunspot number is currently listed at 84, which I think is way too high, and will probably drop fairly shortly. The X-ray background has dropped to B2 level, the F10.7 cm flux has dropped to 105 solar flux units, the solar wind speed has dropped to 350 km per second, the KP index is listed as quiet. The forecast is then that there is a chance of getting C flares, but I think that chance is decreasing as time goes by. We're still getting coronal mass ejections, so I suspect that those will continue. The chance of getting major flares or a major geomagnetic storm I think is quite low. So that's it for today. Don't forget the links to the previous versions of the Sun today are listed in the description box below, as are links to my other videos. So keep safe. Bye for now.